right, we have to talk about this video right here behind me because it was a very important, newsworthy event here in Marvel Strike Force. Be sure to go and watch this video right now if you can on Casino's channel. In fact, I'm going to leave it a like right now because Casino was on the front page of Twitch, and he was able to interview the community manager right here, Cerebro. And there were tons of really good information, and I'm just going to do a quick recap because he talked about Hulkbuster. He talked about an AIM rework, and I'm just going to give my interpretation of this Twitch stream because it was quite amazing. Now, I do have to give a small disclosure. I know a lot of you have watched my videos, and I think you could say that I have an opinion. I voice my opinion, especially when I disagree with the way things are going over at Fox Next with various things like Red Star Orbs. I was very vocal. But I have to say that Cerebro, I don't even know Cerebro by his name. I know him by a different name. I've known him for about 2 years. I know him fairly well. In fact, I went out to LA about a month ago, had dinner with him for about 5 hours. I've met up with this guy over the last 2 years, maybe half a dozen times. I know him very well. And I just, when I see the community not give him a chance or being mean to him or things like that, I was like, dude, this guy is a great guy. And I know Casino several times in the video said he's the best thing to happen to Strike Force. I don't know if I would go that far. But Cerebro is a pretty awesome guy. He understands the game. He understands the community. I think he's a force for the good. Now, we got to get into what he talked about in this video because there's tons of things. He talked about the Greek raids, or I call them the alphabet raids, the Alpha, Beta, Gamma. He said that they're going to continue to change the boss nodes with new characters, and their intention is not to make them overly difficult so that it basically nerfs your progression. You know, you've advanced your roster, but yet the raids get harder. And he admitted that the Gamma raids, they admit that they were overtuned and a little bit too difficult. They went a little bit too far. Then he also talked about there's some conversation about Blitz being modified and being changed up a little bit. They also talked about a subscription system. Now, they talked about the subscription system in the past, and typically what that is that's some sort of let's say, I'm just going to give a hypothetical. Like you get $10 a month, and for $10 a month, you get 100 cores extra a day, and it's a 42% discount. I don't know what they're going to do, but the problem I had with this is that he said that it was going to be a phased rollout and that new players will be getting this on iOS, and then it'll, expand. And to me, that sounded like A/B testing, which I'm not a fan of. So there you go. Then, most importantly, next he talked about reworks, and he read something off of the screen, and basically he hinted at very strongly that there was going to be an AIM rework and a new AIM character, and so the chat, of course, went crazy for I'm going to say this game, M.O.D.O.K, the big guy. I'll flash his picture right here, M.O.D.O.K. So that's probably going to be. Then he also said, they start talking about reworks, and the word Thor came up quite a few times. And what he said is that, just like with Hulk came out with Endgame, he says it's most likely going to be in the future when it makes sense. Like if they launch out a bunch of Asgardians, or if there's a new Thor movie or something like that, that's when they feel that Thor would be getting a rework. Because right now he's not that great. He talked about how it takes 5 to 6 months to build a character. That seems way higher than I would have thought, because if we think about the Sinister Six memes, we had the meme come out, and then they came out with the 4 characters. It just because, did that take 6 months of planning, or is that just straight coincidence? And then the main thing that I got out of this entire chat that Casino had with Cerebro is that the team is looking at Thor, Hulkbuster, and Iron Spider as new characters, not as skins. Now, so there was some conversation which kind of confused me, and they were talking about, are they going to go skins or are they going to go new characters? Because what I've seen in other games like Marvel Contest of Champions or Galaxy of Heroes is they can contest to champions. How many Ironmans do they have? They have like 19 Ironmans. And then if you look at Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, they have like how many Han Solos? They got a bunch of them. And so that was the question is like, are you going to come out with duplicate characters or are you going to go skins? And there really wasn't a definite answer, but it sounded like to me that they were leaning towards creating new characters. So like he said, he mentioned Thor, Hulkbuster, and Iron Spider, but to me the Thor looked like it was like he misspoke or something. Hulkbuster and Iron Spider make a lot of sense, but because right now we don't have any duplicate characters. Like if you look at Spider-Man Miles Morales, it's actually a different person than Spider-Man. And so that's not really a new skin, but we did have that one brief period of time where we had a Deadpool Xx4 Skin. Now, this is something that really blew my mind is that he mentioned that Cerebro mentioned that the development team was quite pleased with engagement during the gold calendar, which was where we got that 500,000 gold per day. We got to buy the bonus offers, basically everything that came out of what we call is Goldgate 2.0. I really hope that they kind of loosen the strings a little bit. I mean, that 500,000 gold per day was huge. It made a big difference in my character development, and I'm kind of missing it right now. So please bring back the 500,000 per day. I think that was fantastic. Then they talked about Alliance War Room upgrades. So there was some information in the Data Mines that suggested that they were going to do some Alliance War Room upgrades. And the feeling I got from this part of the conversation from Cerebro is that it's going to take a lot more work, and that's kind of been put on the back burner. And I just want to mention, because I'm looking at the picture right here, a lot of people are like, oh, I didn't know he had a beard. He actually he twists it up sometimes. So normally I've seen him where he like curls it up a little bit. You have to visualize him with that. I don't want to show a picture, but that's something else. Okay. Then he talked about what kinds of content they're trying to create. They're trying to create ongoing live service content that will keep people engaged for years. And he kept using the word years, which I thought was very fantastic. And he gave War, an Alliance War, as a structure for content that is going to be sustainable over time and is going to keep people engaged for years. So he said that's the type of content they want to develop more of. And that now that there's a gap in between the movies, they can actually focus on more things like that because they've been involved with all the releases of the movies. You know, a new movie comes out and they're coming out with the characters, and the movie schedule for Marvel has been jam-packed for this year. In fact, since this came out, there's just been movies like constantly. It seems like every 6 weeks a movie comes out or so. And now that they've got a gap, they can actually start working on some other things. Then they talked about an 80th anniversary trait. And that is for the Marvel 80th anniversary, and that they're going to have some sort of 80th anniversary character trait, and those characters will be required to participate in the event. So I don't know off my top of my head what characters were around 80 years ago. Maybe you guys can type that in the chat. Probably should do some research on that. And the rest of the video and the rest of the content was just a little bit. Casino asked about Wakandans, if they're going to be buffed. He said he didn't know. He talked to the development team. And then he also mentioned that there were going to be legendary events were too infrequent. And Cerebro says the team is likely to considering it to have them more frequently because we have quite a bit more legendary events. So I'm hoping we get more information like this in the future. I have done developer interviews in the past, and I got to say for me, seeing the way that Casino did it and the prep work that went in to make this event happen, I got to give him a huge gold star, an A+, because it can go tricky with developers. Sometimes developers are super vague, don't have any information to give out, and it seems like they talk for like an hour and say nothing. And I felt that this was like a very good interview, and there was a lot of information that was helpful to the community. So like I said before, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe here because I'm trying to make this your one-stop stop for all Marvel Strike Force news, and this is totally newsworthy, and I'm going to put this link right in the description. Go watch Casino's video, give it a like, subscribe to Casino if you haven't already subscribed. Well, now it's time for the giveaway. I really hope you liked this video today, because if you did, you are in luck for every single person that likes this video, you will be getting for free in your account an 8-star M.O.D.O.K.
This is not a scam.
He's not out yet, but that's who I'm thinking he meant when he said AIM, is that guy right there. And I don't know how to say his name. I just know it's M.O.D.O. You know what I mean. So definitely super villain. It seems to me like if they're going to do rework, they're always going to require a new character to make the team work well. That's kind of like what happened with S.H.I.E.L.D. Nick Fury came out and that made the team work. And they reworked the characters, but really it worked best with Nick Fury. All right, guys. Thank you for watching and keep on gaming.